Good morning, I'm Greg Armstead with EnRoutePro. We're here today to talk a little bit about various features and functions of the EnRoutePro software that you can use, primarily from the perspective of company officers and battalion chief officers who are responding to incidents. Okay, this video works from the perspective of a battalion chief who is going to receive a call for a grass fire. When this call comes in, it will appear on the home screen, as you see with the green bubble that has just shown up. When this call comes in, it will sound an alarm. The responder will touch the green button, and up will come call details that can be looked at to view where we're going. The blue bar at the very top will give us street or turn-by-turn directions to get to the scene. The green bar allows us to indicate that we're responding to the scene, and note the Add Notes feature down below. We'll see an example of this in a few minutes. The call details are here, and you can see initial flames were reported in a homeless camp across the street from the incident address that is shown at the top. A map page, radio channel, and who is being dispatched to this call are all shown in these call details. Having touched the response screen, we will move on to the button at the bottom, which will show Street View. This is where the incident is centered. In this particular case, is a grass field. We see the field. I use the Street View controls to move back down the street a little bit, and I can immediately get some visibility to a hydrant that's in the area. I can also touch the Documents icon that had an eye next to it, and I can see the agency's map for this particular area. I can also touch the scene view, the house on fire icon at the bottom, and I can get a satellite view of the overall area in question. The red pin in the middle of the screen is the actual centroid of the incident address. I can move the scene view around, and you can also see that I have hydrants available for viewing, and I can see the closest nearby hydrant. The call details here indicated a grass fire across the street from this address. I can see on the right, on my assignments, that I have 3 apparatus who are responding to this scene currently. I can see the distances that they are from this scene. For instance, engine 4 is 2.6 miles from this scene right now. The number to the right, which is shown as 1, is a PAR for that engine and can be updated by the company officer for that engine while they are en route. Down in the bottom left, we can see a call timer for the overall incident, and we can also see the miles changing or the distances changing for each apparatus that is en route. So if we zoom out, which would be a function that a company officer or a battalion chief would not typically do, but for the purpose of demonstrating the software, we could zoom out. We can actually see one coming down what would probably be Chad Drive and approaching the scene. A battalion chief can use this feature just to get an idea of where his units are approaching the scene from and where he can place them. As the battalion chief officer was en route to the incident, he could see the smoke column forming to the north and asked for additional resources. You can see these resources being added to the responding to scene screen on the right portion of your screen. Okay, as C1 comes into view and is pulling up to the scene, they would give their standard size up over the radio and then use some features to begin recording into the EnRoutePro software certain pieces of information to convey to other units. For instance, C1 can touch their own unit and show themselves on scene. They can hit the unlock button in the upper right-hand corner and move the incident pin to where the actual incident is occurring, which is on the other side of the street. It will come back to the call details and hit that Add Notes feature and note that there are 2 homeless camps involved in this fire area. As well, the responding officer can hit the pencil feature in the upper left and hand draw in this case, the fire area or the fire zone that is engulfed currently. The battalion chief can then begin to pick up resources that are still inbound and indicate where he wants them placed once they arrive. For instance, Engine 5 is placed on the parking lot just to the south of this fire, In addition, the battalion chief locates the hydrant that he will want hydrant water supply to pick up and provide water to the incident. The C1 officer will designate himself with the ICS role of command. That is done by touching the resource on the assignment list to the right. When the screen comes up that asks you for the assignment that you have, you go ahead and select from the list that's provided. Engine 5 shown below in the black background is where the engine actually is, and they have approached and they have arrived on scene. And the battalion chief will give them an assignment, which will be structure protection related to the homeless camp that is in that parking lot shown just north of where Engine 5 is seated. The light brown background for Engine 5 is the optimal placement that the battalion chief has requested. The black background for Engine 5 is where they're actually at. The tan-colored designation is the chosen color EnRoutePro uses for structure protection assignments. Red is for fire attack, blue is for water supply, and other colors will become apparent. Battalion Chief now requests Engine 4 to stage on I-5 southbound on the berm just above the fire area. The smoke from this fire was impinging I-5 southbound traffic. You can see on the lower portion of your screen that Engine 4 is moving on northbound I-5. We'll have to go up to the turnaround at Sprague Road and come back down to South I-5, and you will notice that Engine 5 has repositioned into the parking lot. One of the features of this system is when apparatus get very close to their designated spot, the system will auto-arrive them, as you see with Engine 4, where Engine 4 is close enough to their spot where they are marked as arrived, and they have taken fire attack assignment from command. Command has added Tender 916 as requested Coburg Mutual Aid, and Tender 916 is en route and will be coming down North Game Farm soon. Just to the right, you see Coburg's Brush 913 has added to the response. They are probably not en route, so they do not yet show a distance. Note in the upper right-hand corner, Tender 2 did update their PAR assignment showing a crew of 3. Note as Tender 2 gets within a mile of the scene, the battalion chief assigns them water supply and will pick an optimal assignment for their placement. Watch as Incident Command takes incoming Brush 16 and places them at the north end of the fire zone. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see Coburg Brush 913 is arriving, and Incident Command is giving them an assignment for fire attack. Likewise, as Brush 16 gets closer, they are also receiving the fire attack assignment. Towards the bottom of the screen, note Tender 2, who has already received the water supply assignment, is now entering the scene. Observe as Command decides to replace Tender 2 adjacent to Engine 5, who is having water supply issues. And Tender 916 is approaching and heading towards their designated placement in the black. Toward the bottom of your screen, note that Brush 16 is arriving. Brush 16, after moving to the north of the scene to deal with a brief flare-up, has now returned to their designated fire attack area. Incident Command can pan and zoom and see the distribution of all the resources on the scene and maintain visibility in spite of what the smoke conditions and traffic conditions may be. Here is a panoramic view of the scene at the end. You can see the placement of the various engine and apparatus that responded, the main water supply area, and the fire area drawn in. At this point, Command can come in and add an additional note indicating that the fire is under control. Note in this screen, which is the call details screen, you can also indicate that the incident is closed. Once everything is complete, Command can note that the incident is closed. This will release all resource and end all placement assignments and is the final act in the system for this incident.